Okay, happy Friday, everyone. Today we're going to be comparing MSTY to MST, which is the new fund by Defiance. So we have Yieldmax's MSTY versus Defiance's MST. Which is the better Bitcoin ETF that also has really high dividends? MSTY already has around 100% yield. So which is the better vehicle once again? We're trying to live financially free with our dividends, of course. We earn over $600,000 in dividends, and that's thanks in part to MSTY. And we're still outperforming the NASDAQ, even in this down market. Okay, we're only down 7%, 6.88. The NASDAQ's down 10.5%. The S&P is down 8%, but we're going to be beating the S&P. When the market's down and I'm using over 300,000 of margin leverage, then we should be down much more, you would think. But margin is not as scary as everyone thinks, especially if you use it right. Margin, Yieldmax, MSTY, Defiance, all these funds help me live the FIRE lifestyle, which means financially independent, retire early. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com. I've been really sick lately, so I have this throat lozenge in my mouth. Sorry. It's just like when I was traveling around Europe in 2023. If you remember those days, I was super sick. I have all these videos in a certain playlist. If you want to watch those videos, our trip to Europe with TJ, we're getting creamed in Europe, and we still made it through that with flying colors, and that was on a much smaller account size. But check those out if you ever get the chance. I know that some people are new to my channel and they don't know about those videos. It's all blood, sweat, and tears for y'all, okay? Yes, part of me admits that I just love this stuff, okay? But also I have a lot of important things that I have to get off my chest, including the fact that we're down only 6.88%. Once again, beating the NASDAQ. We'll be beating the S&P soon. Someone wrote in my comments in the last video, yeah, but you're not beating the S&P. You're not outperforming all the indexes. We're in a down market right now. The market is still 10% or so off the highs. So for us to have 300,000 worth of margin leverage, as you can see here, and to still be beating the NASDAQ, when we have mostly NASDAQ and tech-related plays, that's just a phenomenal accomplishment. And again, that's because you have to use margin properly and play by the rules. This margin interest, as I always say, is low interest. I've negotiated down twice. Many of my members who bought my e-guides did the same thing. When you buy my e-guides, you get my phone number for life. So I'll text you that script whenever you're ready. Also, I'm not worried about this margin leverage because it is paid back by my dividends so quickly, okay? My dividends of over $600,000 per year will pay back this margin debt in less than 1 year, and then my leverage goes away, my risk just goes away. So I have to keep margin going. I have to keep reinvesting in my margin just to keep my performance going, because you know that we have decay sometimes from Yieldmax and Defiance, or let's say you're in MSTY or an MST, and the market's going up and they're not moving up as much as the market. Well, you have to use that extra bit of margin, in my opinion, to close the gap so that you can, at least tie the indexes. All right, but we outperform the indexes because we also sell these puts. As you can see here, these puts, they were up big yesterday, and they're up pretty big today as well. Soxel up 700. This BitX put up 200. This BitX put down 1,300. That just proves that these prices don't ever matter. These days gains don't matter, and these total gains don't matter. These puts that we use, including on MSTY, which I've sold puts on, they lower my margin, they lower my volatility, and they give me days gains here, days gains potential, which gives me more days gains for the total portfolio, as you can see above. So we're up 27,000 or 2.02%. We're beating all of the indexes, as you can see above. The NASDAQ's up 1.76, so I don't need any more leverage than this. I don't need any more sold puts than this. My sold puts and my margin leverage are, again, how I close the gap and get extra days gains. I engineer my days gains in the safest way possible, because when you sell puts, these aren't zero DTE puts, which are risky. These are leaps, and therefore, these are the safest way to enter a stock and also engineer days gains. If you need help selling puts, that's in my volume 6 e-guide. So I didn't try to start off the video talking about sold puts. I just wanted, because we're talking about MSTY and MST. But I want to share with you how, when I use margin with these sold puts, how I actually get, I close the gap with the indexes. We get 1-for-1 exposure now, because Defiance and Yieldmax move up, sometimes less than the market, again, on some days, on up days. And So it's important to show how we're outperforming the market, outperforming Yieldmax, because everyone thinks Yieldmax and Defiance are these eroding vehicles that don't make you any days gains. I got comments in the last video again saying, hey, well, you get these dividends of 600,000, but you can't withdraw from them because they erode. That's a true point. And I kept telling them that I get days gains too. And so this is essentially what I withdraw out of, but you can't just get this amount of days gains out of nowhere. You have to sell these puts safely, and you have to use leverage properly. All right. So I also want to tell y'all that, in order to have a balanced portfolio, you need to have indexes, of course. Okay. So Cornerstone is my biggest play. That's what I anchor my portfolio with. Cornerstone, we've been out of it since it's been doing its rights offering, but now we're trying to get back in. If you need help playing Cornerstone, that's in my volume 4 e-guide. So anchor your portfolio with index plays, because we don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. In 2022, Bitcoin fell, and recently in this correction, Bitcoin got creamed. At least MSTY did. And so you can't put all your money in those, because after all, they move down bigger than the market. They hurt your performance, especially when you're in margin, and they have higher maintenance. Okay, so MSTY's maintenance is 100%, which means it sucks up 100% of your equity. We also have a 124% yield here, which is very nice. And so it kind of offsets that higher maintenance. But when you're trying to live the FIRE lifestyle, which means financially independent, retire early, you have to watch your maintenance. Maintenance is the key to everything that I do. For every $1 you put in your account, you get $4 of purchasing power. So I'm just using a fraction of my over 4 million in purchasing power to get ahead. Right now, it only shows about 1 million because I'm invested heavily in many different vehicles, especially short vehicles to hedge my account, which is also how we, outperform some. And those are always 100% maintenance, usually. If you need help with maintenance, that's in my volume 3 e-guide. So you have to be aware of MSTY and the maintenance, and you have to be aware of staying indexed, okay? And so that's where Cornerstone comes in. That's where Defiance comes in. That's where some Yieldmax plays come in, like Yieldmax. But the key with Cornerstone is that it has a 20% dividend, and it gives you these gains every month, 14% right now. Usually we get 20 to 30, sometimes we get upwards of 40 to 50% gains, like in 2021, every month on top of the 20% dividend when you're in Cornerstone. That's why I anchor my portfolio to it. It also gives you days gains potential, which, today, as you can see, it's also up. I was just on the Cornerstone page. Yieldmax up 1.33, which is important to note, but Cornerstone's up 2%. 2%, around these lows. We have to wait till the rights offering finishes before we go, more overweight into Cornerstone. But it's the best fund in the world. It's been around since the 80s. It is a 4-star fund, which, as you can see on Morningstar, 4-star, and it moves upper left to right on its chart. So it offsets that erosion that you see on the charts. So you look at the charts of Yieldmax, you look at the charts of Cornerstone, they look sideways to down. But on a total return chart, you see that they move upward left to right and match the indexes. All right, so that's why it's so important that you have to factor back in dividends and drips for Cornerstone and the rights offerings for Cornerstone. So it's just a very special fund. And I have other index funds that I use, like Yieldmax, Defiance, etc., to get that days gains exposure that you need. But the good thing about Cornerstone, really quickly, one more point about Cornerstone, is that it is 30% maintenance. So it preserves a lot of my equity, whereas MSTY sucks up 100% of my equity. So this is why, I'm anchoring my portfolio to Cornerstone. It gives you the days gains. It offsets the losses that you see in a given year, in a given down year from Bitcoin. It's low maintenance, and it gives you that qualifying income that you need to, qualify to banks for loans. So does MSTY, but it does so without risking a margin call for your account, because when you use 100% of your equity, that takes up all your available withdrawal. I like to always keep enough cushion between myself and a margin call. I'm never in worry or at risk of a margin call, because we have protective hedges in the account, but also I just manage my position sizes properly. I have, all of my members who follow me, they know that I have a technique to de-lever without the risk and then still get the same bounce back potential in a down market, which is what we're getting right now. All right, so we haven't had any slippage in the account. When the market rallies back to the old highs, we'll be at new highs in our account thanks to what we've been buying at the lows. And some of that has been MSTY, but I keep MSTY smaller than I keep my index positions on, like Cornerstone. But again, make sure you play Cornerstone properly around the rights offerings. I can't stress that enough. Don't just buy this thing and hold it and not pay attention to it. You have to let the rights offerings do the work for you. You have to let the premium thresholds tell you when to buy and sell, and that's how you can really outperform the market and level up your account. My account went from 15,000 to $1 million after Corona because of Cornerstone. I put it all into Cornerstone. They tell you when to sell. Look, we sold up here at these highs because, well, I already knew to get out because of the premium thresholds that I watch. That's in my Volume 4 e-guide. But also we got the alert at Discord, okay? Here's the Cornerstone rights offering announcement. We got the rights offering announcement and the N2 filing, which we sold when we got these announcements. We sold more of Cornerstone, and that's how we avoided all the pain in this down market, okay? And now we're just reloading, and Cornerstone works perfectly. It usually does its rights offerings in a down market, and then when it stabilizes again, the rights offering is finished when the market stabilizes again. So I can't stress Cornerstone enough, and also I can't stress joining my Discord enough. Okay, we have the best Discord in the world, around 2,000 members here. We also have a Bitcoin channel, a Canadian channel. We have Cornerstone discussion, rights offering. We have everything you can think of. Here's the crypto channel, options channel, you name it. Okay, IRA, 401k, which we're gonna do a follow up on the last video. Liquidating my mom's 401k or IRA. We're going to do a follow-up on Roths next in the next video, okay? Because I got a lot of good questions about that. But again, we have Roundhill here, Yieldmax, Defiance, Rec Shares, Granite Shares. We also have this news feed, which I follow very closely that my admin installed. That was Gains. Thank you so much, Gains. Also in the general channel, I just have to point out really fast before I get into the comparisons of MSTY and MST. I want to point out in the general section how kind Jetta was to leave this note for me, okay? Someone was asking if they, could get into my live videos, and I thought it was here. Yeah, Jetta saying, he just was, you can read this comment for yourself, but he says he has a free public video, but he also has YouTube member videos where you need a subscription to view, which I think is fair. There are two levels, the base level, which is access to the member videos, and the enhanced membership that adds SMS notifications of his trades during the day. I'm a member of the enhanced and SMS text, and they're really powerful as you can act on your account for trades and get the notice that Todd's about to start a new video. Well said, Jetta. I really appreciate you once again. Jetta, Frosty, Gaines, Hashor. Hashor is like our expert for Cornerstone. If you ever want to see what he says, he's got a lot more money than me. He's a very successful man, and I look up to him and respect him a lot. So I can't say enough about our Discord. I just love it so much. All right. When you buy my e-guides, you get my phone number for life and you get Discord for life for free. Okay. So it's not a monthly charge or anything like that. It's a one-time thing and you get it for life. So that comes when you buy my e-guides. People always ask me, can I just buy one e-guide and get Discord access? It's so valuable, okay, that I don't like to do it. You have to buy a silver or gold bundle. But also, I want to eliminate redundant questions in Discord, because if you don't read all of the guides, then you'll just ask all these questions, ad nauseum that we've already answered so many times, and we get tired of answering the same questions. All right, so just remember that, okay? Just keep that all in mind. Now, back to MSTY and MST, okay? By the way, I have a members only video coming up today around 2 o'clock, 2:30, just to keep you informed on that. I just want to let you know. We just want to see how the market plays out for the next couple hours, and then I'll do a live then, updating you with all my latest allocations. So MSTY, all right, here it is. Okay, we see on the chart here that it has the potential to move up huge. Okay, it went from 20 to 45, and it was giving you the 100% dividend. So if you go to Yieldmax's website, you'll see that it was giving you 100% return, almost 200% return during its inception, the year of its inception. So it's a very powerful fund. But and there's no information on MST right now. This is all that we know for MST. But I can only tell you one thing, okay? One thing that I heard through the grapevine, and that is, okay, Cornerstone, remember that, 30% maintenance. Now, MSTY, we have 100% maintenance, and you don't want to really sell naked options on it because, look, it's 400% maintenance for some reason. Whereas when I sell naked options on Defiance, it's actually 20% maintenance. It's because it's safer, it's cheaper. I don't know why they would make it more for MSTY other than the fact that maybe you're selling puts on MSTY and it just drops, you know, like a just a falling knife, okay, and it just drops out of the sky. And it could. You never know what's going to happen with Michael Saylor and his earnings. It's not totally tied to Bitcoin. He's a company with headline risk. That's why you have to go with indexes like Cornerstone, which don't have the headline risk. The only risk for Cornerstone, the headline risk, are the rights offerings and the premiums. But if you just learn how to play those right, then they work for you. They're not news that you have to, they're not risks that you should be watching out for. They actually just work for you, okay? But there are many risks with MSTY and MST. Now, Bitcoin has less risk because there's less headline risk with Bitcoin. But you never know what could happen with Bitcoin. With MSTY, you especially don't know what's going to happen. But let me just show you something about MST, okay, MST. Now, this is likely to change, but right now, it's 50% maintenance. So that means it's, you know, it preserves half the equity that MSTY takes up. So I thought that was an important note, okay? First things first there. If you're just joining this video late, in this live video, if you need help with maintenance, that's in my Volume 3 e-guide. Now, the one tidbit that I want to give you for MST and MSTY, you know, the question should now become, well, if they're both tracking the same thing, who's going to have a higher dividend yield? Who's going to move up higher and give you better days gains, but who also has a higher dividend yield? Well, I can only tell you that Defiance is trying to go for the highest yields that they can get. Okay, they're trying to achieve the highest yields they can get. And so that might mean that we don't know, but it could mean that they're going to have higher yields. MST is going to have a higher yield than MSTY, okay? But there might be a trade-off there in days gains because if there's a higher yield, then there's more decay, quote unquote. But I never worry about decay, as I've always said, because you just have to factor back in dividends and then your performance increases regardless. All right, I mean, what we're doing with our margin here is we pay it down so fast, about $10,000 every week we get. So it's, you know, around 50, it's like 12,000 a week, which is like 50 a month. That means that my margin gets paid down so fast and then my account grows by the equivalent amount. So my account's going to go up by 351,000 by the end of the year, assuming a sideways market. But even if the market's falling, we have this sweet spot here with our margin leverage to where our risk just goes away as this gets paid down. Our performance is not affected anymore as the market falls. But then we just keep growing regardless of the market does. This is going to increase our performance because we're using this outside money. It's not really outside. It's your equity. Do what you want with your equity. It's not borrowing on other people's money. It's your equity that you're using. You just have to pay an interest. You have to pay interest on that to the bank, of course, but it's on your equity. It's not a loan from them. It's your equity. A lot of people don't like to tap the equity in their homes or in their brokerage, but you should because there's a lot of power in that. All right, so forgive me. I'm super sick once again. I'm sorry if I can't even speak clearly with this throat loss and gin, but I have to say these things. All right, so look at these days gains. Once again, that's how we get those days gains on top of our stock moves. Okay, we have funds, Cornerstone, Bitcoin, all that move up, but also we have our sold puts and we have the margin, which gives us these days gains, which offset the erosion, quote unquote, that's not really real. All right, so I think that'll do it for this video. If my members have questions, we'll get to that in the next video. All right, we'll answer that question, Iron Warrior, next. All right, yeah, hey, Amber, thanks so much. Everyone like the video if you can. Happy Friday. Like this video if you can, like, subscribe, all that. It helps push this video out to more people. So please, once again, like the video now, all right? So we're outperforming all of the indexes using Bitcoin, Cornerstone, Defiance, Yieldmax, etc. Well, right now we're not outperforming all the indexes. but we will be outperforming all the indexes. When we get this is a down market. Wait till it's an up market. And again, with this down market and margin leverage and the erosion you see from Yieldmax, which is a myth, this proves that it's a myth because we're only down 6.88%. When the market goes higher, we're going to be beating all the indexes like we had before. We got a 50% gain at one point last year, and we got a 50% gain the year before that. And when we get our dividends this weekend, tomorrow, you're going to see my performance. Since we're up 2% today, all right, I'll go ahead and tell you now. I'll just predict it. The S&P is only up 1.6, so 1.5. Nasdaq's up, call it 2%. So we're going to go up by two basis points tomorrow, so we'll be at minus 4.88. Plus, we're going to get our dividends of about 10 to 12,000, which is another percent, because on $1 million, 10,000 is 1%. So we'll be at 3.88%. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the S&P this whole time. I'm so sorry. Okay, 8.2%, minus 2%. Okay, but today we're actually up more than that. Go look at a complete view with my margin factored in, and you see that we're up 2.81. All right, so if we're up 0.2, if our performance is as you can see here, 8.2, and we're up about 3%, call it. Well, then we're going to be up at 5. We're going to be down to 5.27 tomorrow, and then after the dividends, 4.27. And so I think that we'll start outpacing the S&P at that point, including the Dow, everything else. We're going to be beating everything after tomorrow. All right, so remember, when you buy my e-guide, you get free access to Discord for life, the best chat room in the world, finance related. And you get my number for life, so you can call me anytime. Just text me first for a heads up if you want to give me a call. All right, I really appreciate y'all being here with me on this Friday. I'm super sick, but I'm going to do one more video for my members towards the end of the day. You can follow my portfolio anytime here on YouTube under memberships. Okay, here's Ari Gutman's page. I always leave his page up because we did that podcast together. And so you can see my podcast and learn more about my personal life there. And you can follow my portfolio here under memberships, okay? All right, once again, if you like this video, please click like or subscribe, everyone. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but maybe not. That'll do it for today, okay? Yeah, hit like and subscribe on this video if you liked it, and I'll talk to you soon, everyone. Thanks. Great comments, everyone. I really appreciate your comments. We'll get to those in the next video. And thank you, Iron Warrior.